defending champs.
And the Brewers have a date with the Dodgers. Uribe deals to Carson Kelly, swinging a bouncer to short. Ortiz has it, and the Brewers are going to the championship series.
The Brewers host the Dodgers in Game 2 of the NLCS. Our radio network game day coverage starts tonight at 6:30. October runs through the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 10:01, it's 56 degrees on our way up to 63 today. Mostly sunny and breezy. Chance of rain later on. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Greg Matzik. Milwaukee police released dash cam video of an officer-involved shooting that left one person dead. It happened last Thursday about 8:30 a.m. near 49th and Mill Road. In the video from the off-duty officer's vehicle, you can hear the moment of impact and his response.
What are you doing?
After both drivers pulled over and got out to survey the damage, the other driver approached the officer and drew his weapon, hitting him in the face. The officer then fired back, killing 26-year-old Elijah Wilkes. After seeing the footage, Wilkes' family admitted the officer's actions were justified. Seriously hurt on Milwaukee's Water Street this summer, the driver crashed through barricades, hitting her and her friend. Now a young New Berlin woman wants change.
Chloe Handrick spent 2 weeks in the hospital, had 7 blood transfusions and 2 surgeries.
One thing I will never forget is just that unbelievable pain.
3 months later, she's still not completely mobile. Her family wheeled her into our studio.
Everything has been so much harder after it, and I'm discovering how to live my life in a new way.
Handrick is working hard to recover, but also to advocate for the future.
I want to see a lot of the traffic patterns change when there's blocked roads, that the lights are changed, that they have better, stronger barricades.
Jessica Tai, WTMJ News.
President Trump's new tariffs going into effect today. Lumber, furniture, other wood products, potentially adding more costs to surging home building and renovation projects. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis with more on the overall effect of the Trump administration plan.
Goldman Sachs crunched the numbers on this. Consumers are bearing the highest burden. They will pay by the end of this year more than half of the burden, 55%, and then into next year, they will pay 70% of that burden. You've got businesses paying a small portion and then international countries paying an even smaller portion.
Cost of furniture is up about 5% from a year ago. Living and dining room furniture are up nearly 10%. Wisconsin food share benefits could be in jeopardy if the government shutdown continues into November.
Wisconsin's SNAP and WIC programs are fully funded through October 31st. After that, over 700,000 Wisconsinites might not have access to food assistance. Now the Wisconsin Department of Health Services is asking the state legislature for $70 million to help keep the services running after funding cuts from the Trump administration's Big Beautiful Bill. They also need more staff as the department deals with more paperwork as a result of new work requirements to qualify for benefits. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the red here this morning with the Dow off about 38 points at 46,030. NASDAQ down about 225 points at 22,471. And the S&P down about 30 points today at 6626. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:04.
Your neighbors are talking. Did you see their siding? Yikes. That drafty window? It's basically air conditioning. From nature. Don't be the scary house on the block this fall. Call Exterior Pros and Baths and get $3,000 off your roofing, siding, windows, or bath project. No tricks, just treats. That's 262-800-4274 or click your way to extpros.com. Fall in love with your home again. Trust the pros.
Whoa! What are these? Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. Available in 2 great flavors, cheesy garlic or pepperoni. Both delicious. Screamin' Sicilian doesn't play around. They're fully loaded breadsticks that come in their own bakeable tray.
Dang! Woo! These are next level. Are they the main course?
Nah, just the appetizer. Find Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks in your local grocer's freezer section. Screamin' Sicilian loaded breadsticks. Bring the party, bring the flavor.
A new physician has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Dr. Derek Damrow. Originally from Sheboygan, Dr. Damrow earned his biochemistry degree from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and completed medical school at the Medical College of Wisconsin. He trained alongside a world-renowned upper extremity surgeon at the University of Florida. Dr. Damrow is now back in southeastern Wisconsin to provide specialized shoulder and elbow care through Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Learn more or schedule an appointment at orthowisconsin.com.
The best team in baseball taking on the defending champs.
And the Brewers have a date with the Dodgers. Uribe deals to Carson Kelly, swinging a bouncer to short. Ortiz has it, and the Brewers are going to the championship series.
The Brewers host the Dodgers in Game 2 of the NLCS. Our radio network game day cover starts tonight at 6:30. October runs through the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. The Brewers look to rebound tonight in Game 2 of the NLCS after dropping Game 1 to the Dodgers by a score of 2-1. Pat Murphy's lineup could not figure out Dodgers starter Blake Snell, who struck out 10 over 8 shutout innings.
He didn't go back and forth. They just went change up, and the ball was moving so much, and it was such a great pitch. He recognized it and stayed with it. He was unbelievable.
Brewers loaded the bases in the ninth with 2 outs before Bryce Terang struck out to end the game. Freddie Peralta takes the ball tonight in Game 2. Coverage gets underway following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. And one final preseason tune-up for the Bucks tonight at home against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The regular season begins 1 week from tomorrow against the Washington Wizards. Taking a look at your roads, a WTMJ Time Saver traffic update. You're slow 4145 southbound. Right around County Line Road down through Good Hope. About a 4-minute delay if you're making your way toward the Zoo interchange. Otherwise, pretty free up or during that construction zone, not causing you too much delays once you get south of Good Hope Road. Northbound delays begin just after North Avenue and you're back to normal speeds before you get to Capitol Drive. Got a disabled vehicle, 94 westbound, a couple miles beyond the ramp at Moreland Road. It's off to the side of the road, not impeding traffic and not slowing anything down. You're not on the brakes at all. Just be mindful of it. It's off to the side of the road. Otherwise, standard travel times across the system here this morning. Chance of rain late tonight. Otherwise, mostly sunny eventually and breezy with a high of 63. Showers likely this evening. Mostly cloudy skies and a low of 53. Morning rain expected on Wednesday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and a high of 60. Right now it's 59 in Thiensville, 56 in Teresa, 53 in Trempealeau, and 52 in Milwaukee. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scafidi and Kristin Brey.
Well, I could not cheer loud enough to bring us a win last night. I realized that was my first ever playoff baseball game that I got to go to last night. And the crowd brought the energy. We just couldn't get over that one Snell pitcher. So I'll talk more about the game later today because we can't waste any time with our guests. They were supposed to be here tomorrow. They're here a day early. We have so much to talk about. Returning champs, Jim Santel, former United States attorney in Wisconsin, and retired Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Mary Kuhnmensch, back to talk about all the things we couldn't get to last week, which predominantly is we are in a new Supreme Court term, and there is lots to talk about. How are you, both of you?
I'm good. Thanks for having us on.
Starting as we always do with that phrase that the three of us talk about, which is, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Right.
All right. So the Supreme Court's already hearing cases. They heard some last week.
Right.
They're hearing some today and tomorrow. So let's start with the Voting Rights Act, because I feel like that's the one that I've seen a lot of headlines for this week. Mm-hmm. So what is the case and what could be the outcome of this?
Sure. I think this is going to be probably the biggest case in the docket. We'll hear about it probably next June. This is Louisiana versus Calais. Listeners, and you, Kristin, also will recall that this was the case that, curiously, the Supreme Court decided not to decide in its previous term. Remember this? They said, we're took some oral argument on this. We're going to put this in our new term. So they're having oral argument tomorrow morning. The question on the superficial level is whether or not the line drawing for congressional seats in the state of Louisiana is constitutional, consistent with the Voting Rights Act. What happened going back and forth with some district courts and some legislative actions there. They ultimately drew two majority black districts. Two majority black districts among all of them, Louisiana, challenged in court. The challenge eventually goes up to the Supreme Court. And the question, which is fascinating, is whether or not that decision, that is compelling the state of Louisiana to draw these two under the Voting Rights Act, which again establishes that you cannot infringe on voting rights for people of color and people who do not have English as their first language, whether that kind of a mandate is in violation of, wait for it, the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, equal protection. And the argument, although it sounds absurd, and it should, at least from my ears, is just this, that the 14th Amendment requires equal protection for everyone, and that somehow the Voting Rights Act, which has been around for decades, since the 60s, elevates that for people of color and people of language, and therefore no longer equality. So the issue here before the Supreme Court is whether or not, frankly, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, this basic provision that has been around forever, that's been the core of the law, whether it is unconstitutional and has been unconstitutional since the time of its passage. Huge case. If they decide in a way that they have in the past, this is going to be, frankly, from my perspective, and I suspect many of your listeners as well, catastrophic in terms of enforcing voting rights in America.
That's quite what an open.
Right.
So if let me translate this in my brain. So it's basically saying, so even when we go back, so the maps that Evers we originally had back in 2022, and then they went up to the Supreme Court and it came back down, and then we got the Republican maps. Wasn't that based on the Voting Rights Act as far as what you have to, like, when it comes to districting and drawing the new lines both on the legislative statewide and congressional districts? What does the current rules say as far as cracking and packing communities of color?
Right. And so, again, it gets a little bit messy because the Supreme Court said that, you know what federal courts do not do? They do not address issues of political gerrymandering, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was the case you're probably making reference to. So this case is not about political gerrymandering. This case, again, coming out of Louisiana, this is about racial gerrymandering, which survives, and so federal courts can still review this. Different kind of pockets, different buckets of things being analyzed, but the concept is still the same. It's line drawing, and how do you get people to vote? How do you draw lines in such a way that their franchise is not denied to them? Here, the attempt by the legislature, which found itself somewhat in the middle on all this, they were being told you've got to do two. Now they're being sued because two is too many, according to the people who are challenging this. Their position, of course, is we are trying to be in compliance with the Voting Rights Act, which, again, in terms of population in Louisiana, of people of color, should mandate that in the end there be two districts of majority black populations. The challenge is that that's too many, and it's not only in violation, therefore, of the law, but of the Constitution because of the Equal Protection Clause. It's a lot, once again. It is a lot. But the bottom line is, so this is the opportunity for the Supreme Court to look at Section 2 and determine whether or not, after all these years, it's constitutional or not. And if a majority of the Supreme Court, as it has said in the past, at the pen of John Roberts, who previously has looked at this and said these kinds of things and said, you know what, we got to look at the contemporary situation, not back in the 60s, but suggests that we are sort of in this new era where maybe race doesn't matter quite as much. My words, not his. I'm not advocating for that, but that's what he sort of indicated. The signs are not good for this, and this is why people are looking at Louisiana Calais as being the big case in this docket. Will change dramatically what happens with voting rights in America. Why we need to listen to that argument tomorrow morning to see which way they're going.
Yeah, my view on gerrymandering in general is informed by my involvement on the independent committee that I sat on for Milwaukee County back in when COVID was going on after the census, when we were coming up with, there were 6 judges asked to sit, and I was one of them, to come up with new voting maps for Milwaukee County. and the county supervisors. And the whole process was in many ways off-putting, Kristin. And the reason is because there's all these factors almost too many factors that I'm not sure those factors help us get where we want to go, whether it's making sure that you're following things that, because for instance, if you're looking at, racial disparities, and you want to gerrymander for purposes of getting a couple of districts, in this case in Louisiana, that are black majority, there's an assumption in there that is off-putting to a lot of people, which is that all blacks, all African Americans think the same and vote the same.
Right. Yeah.
And that is not. In my opinion, that's not true.
Yes.
I think it pigeonholes that even all Democrats don't think the same. There's a wide range of voices in the Democratic Party. So when you're trying to gerrymander along political lines, you fail as well. The Republicans, not so much anymore. I think because you've got these very red districts. When somebody is saying a very red district, what they're saying is a very, very conservative MAGA district now that, votes along all of the lines that, in lockstep with everything that President Trump and the MAGA party now proposes. And that's probably true, but I don't know that all blue districts are all going to vote the same way because you've got a disparity. You've got a lot of different voices in the Democratic Party now. So even there's a watering down of the values of that of gerrymandering. So I have indigestion with gerrymandering in general for those reasons and several others.
Absolutely. All right, let's get your mic fixed. We're going to take a quick break.
Sorry about that.
We're
folks.
talking to Jim Santel and Mary Kuhnmensch about the current SCOTUS term and the cases that are coming up in front of them. Stay with us on Point Taken.
When it rains, it pours. But sometimes it hails. Or worse.
That tornado warning again is for Fond du Lac and Dodge County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now.
Keep us within reach for Fleet Farm Storm Team alerts.
Even if a tornado does not touch down, we know that there are powerful straight line winds.
On 620 WTMJ and WTMJ.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Kristin Brey, and if you're in the market for a new dentist, you should check out my dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economawalk Dental Care. Yes, I make the drive from Milwaukee to go to Economawalk and see Dr. James Michaels because he is that good. He is committed to providing you with the highest level of care possible. I can assure you that he's going to prioritize your needs no matter how sensitive, just like he did with mine. And he'll be very honest with you. What you have to get done now, what can actually wait. No need to guess if he's telling you the truth of what's going on with your mouth. So whether you need a simple cleaning and exam, teeth whitening, or a more complex dental procedure, Economawalk Dental will always make you feel as comfortable as possible and give you and your family an amazing smile. We all have to go to the dentist, so do not put it off any longer. Call and make an appointment today with my dentist, Dr. James Michaels, at Economawalk Dental Care, 262-567-7224.
Does your bathroom belong in a haunted house?
Or maybe it's just time for a refresh.
WTMJ and Sidex are back with the beautiful bathroom contest.
One lucky listener will win a tub or shower conversion valued up to $10,000.
It's easy. Snap a pic of your scary shower, terrifying tub, or even just one you're tired of.
And enter now at WTMJ.com.
Sidex makes it easy to go from fright to fabulous.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. We're talking to Jim Santel and Mary Kuhnmensch, our legal eagles, about what's coming in front of the Supreme Court. And I wanted to stay on Louisiana and Calais. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Not Cali.
Right. It's French.
Exactly.
In keeping with Louisiana.
Because of the implications of what happens if they basically decide that the Voting Rights Act is unconstitutional. Is that the crux of this?
Well, let's talk a little bit, just as background. Jim's got a really good, I think, summary of where this how the Voting Act is going to be watered down, and I don't disagree with that. But the problem that I see with gerrymandering in all of its flavors is that there's two competing interests here. There's, when you're coming up with districts, let's just go back to Wisconsin. At one point, we had an additional district.
Seat,
We had
yeah.
an additional congressional seat. It's based
Tom
on
Barrett, right?
It's based on or actually it was Tom Barrett, but it was Jerry Kletchka down on the South Side.
Okay.
So we lost that seat because why? Because of populations. That's why we do this in conjunction with census acts. In 2020, we had a census. Every 10 years we have one, so it'll be another one in 2030. But all these states are coming up with ways to get at it, even in between the census. And they're doing it based on a lot of different factors. If you're just pure about it, it's supposed to acknowledge a couple of things. And this is where the rub is. You're supposed to do it based on population. You can either gain a seat or lose a seat based on what your population is in the state, based on the census. And two, there's the underlying principle that one person, one vote, that all of our votes should be equal, that everybody's vote should have the same weight. Well, your vote, depending on where you live in a state, in terms of the Senate, where it's a statewide election, not so much, presidential election, not so much. But when you're talking about congressional districts where it's carving up the state in different ways, that's where you get into all these other factors, including the Voting Rights Act, come into play. Because where do populations exist? In Milwaukee County, for instance, we are not a white majority anymore. We are, I think the majority is 48%. So we are in that sense. But if you were to add up all of the minority populations, whether it be Asian, Latino, or African American, they're at 49 or 50 or 51. So when you add them all together, I think the African American population is like 28 to 30%. The Latino population has risen, as has the Asian population. So in Milwaukee County. So you've got the thinking that Latinos in our community were underrepresented, at least on the county board, because they only had, at one point they had no seats, then they had one seat, and arguably because they went up from something like 12% up to 19% in population, that they were entitled to an additional seat. And that, again, when you start getting into it, and that's what troubles me, because it suggests that all Latinos live in one particular area instead of being dispersed like a lot of other immigrants. So you can go to any other community, Fox Point, Oak Creek, you name a community in Hales Corners, Franklin. It's a mix of ethnicities that's suggesting that Asians only live in this part of the city or this part of the county. Mexicans and Latinos of all different kinds live in this particular part of the city or Milwaukee County. And that's not...
So I guess what are you...
My point is that if you're going to start drawing lines based on those kinds of factors...
But isn't that what the Voting Rights Act says?
Yes.
So are you saying that there is reason to question the Voting Rights Act?
Yeah, in the sense of drawing up districts, not the underlying principles of the Voting Rights Act, which means you cannot discriminate.
Yes.
In any way, shape, or form. Our government can't. That suppresses any group, whether it's white, Asian, Latino, or African American, that the minorities are not suppressed in terms of their ability to vote. Those principles still stand, and I'm absolutely in support of them. Where you get into trouble with that when you're drawing districts, Kristin, in my opinion, is that it suggests that when you're trying to carve out a specific Latino district or a specific African American district, you're in part basing it on the fact that you believe that there's strength in numbers, which there are generally, but that all Latinos think one way or are going to vote one way, or that all African Americans are going to vote one way.
So are you saying that you don't think if this gets struck down, as the case is, that it's that bad of a thing?
I don't know that it is. I really don't.
Okay.
I can't. I don't like if there's anything about redistricting that suppresses one party's right to vote or their ability to have a voice in Congress. And I have a problem. I have serious problems with the way we carve out districts now.
Okay.
Because you've got all these other factors: compactness, continuity,
communities of interest,
all of those kinds of things.
Existing borders.
That somebody from Oak Creek shouldn't have to be, their section of Oak Creek shouldn't be paired up with Whitefish Bay.
Got it. Okay.
You shouldn't have to, that's a little, and there's some logic to that. I get that. But when you start getting into some of these more finite things about the way people vote, I think you run into some really serious issues, because you're saying that everybody acts a certain way or thinks a certain way, And I think the longer we look at and we have people voting, look at the Latino population across this country voting in large numbers
Absolutely.
for the
So,
Republicans.
Let's take a break really quickly. I want to hear Jim. Do you agree with her?
I think it depends on how the Supreme Court is going to parse this out, which
so
is the tease,
we'll
right?
wrap this
Right?
up, and then we'll get on to more cases after the bottom of the hour news. This is Point Taken.
Ben, why are you wearing a lab coat? I'm conducting a highly sensitive experiment, Arvid.
Here, at Penny Mustard.
Obviously, Nicole. What's going on? We've seen a significant uptick in the number of gasping customers.
Gasping?
I've isolated the gasping to this 12-foot radius.
Well, of course. This is where we display the Joni sofa.
Now that's a gasp-worthy sofa.
The Joni sofa's sophistic-crafted fortress frame construction makes it as strong as a tank.
When you pair it with our high-quality foam and hundreds of fabric and leather options, you get an incredibly durable, yet surprisingly supple sofa.
Was that you?
Oh no, it's contagious. The Joni sofa, starting at just $80 a month, with no interest until October of 2027, through October 19th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com. Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishings.
The Wisconsin retirement system impacts over 690,000 people, including police, firefighters, teachers, and UW employees. Join Annex Wealth Management and WTMJ's Steve Scafidi for a free webinar. Understand your WRS potential on Tuesday, October 21st at 3:30 p.m. Learn how your WRS pension fits into your financial portfolio and planning. The Annex Financial Planning team is experienced with WRS pensions and holistic financial planning. Register at annexwealth.com/events. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. That's Annex Wealth Management.
All different types of injury lawyers advertise. Cartoon lawyers, bobblehead lawyers, and folks chasing ambulances with text messages. Our clients don't want or need such lawyers. Our clients know, like, and trust that Pasternak and Zergabel will help in their time of need. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are excellent personal injury lawyers in our community. If you need help after an injury, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com. That's injurywisconsin.com.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Does our Inspired Closets team make dreams come true?
Every day, Dan. From consultation to design to installation, the whole process is built around our clients.
Which is how we earn our 5-star reviews. It's our team that makes the difference.
Inspired Closets is more than just organization. It's an investment in you.
Get started today at inspiredclosets.com.
Inspired Closets Milwaukee, a wife and husband team.
You know the voice.
Fly ball, right field, out of here!
You know the iconic calls.
Fly ball, deep right! Back to back!
And you know he's our Brewers 360 guest on Wisconsin's Morning News. Every Wednesday at 8:45. It's Brewers broadcaster Jeff Levering. Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. We are talking with Jim Santel, former U.S. attorney in Wisconsin and retired Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge. Mary Kuhnmensch. We have 2 minutes exactly, Jim. So just walk us through. We'll wrap it up on talking about Louisiana and Calais. What you'll be looking for tomorrow during oral arguments and how this could end up being ruled.
Right, exactly. So a couple of options, actually probably 3 or 4 options for the Supreme Court. One is they could stay very much in the details. They could say, you know what, consistent with what Judge Mary has just said, these 2 majority districts, we don't like them, send them back down to redraw them again. That could be a more narrow decision without addressing the larger issue. Or, and this is the concern, if they go big and say, you know what, we're finding that Section 2, the very principle upon which this is done, is unconstitutional, then they're going to find that the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause overcomes the Voting Rights Act, and the Voting Rights Act is on the chopping block.
The whole thing, not just this part?
Again, Section 2 is the big one. Section 2 is the big one. You may recall a case called Shelby County versus Eric Holder, in which they said the pre-clearance provisions, those are no longer in place, so you no longer get that. That was hacked away a number of years ago. Another case called Brnovich, again, Section 2, a case written by Sam Alito, in which he kind of denigrated the level of proof you had to show under Section 2. Those two cases, Shelby County and Brnovich, 1 and 2, this could be number 3. This could be the fear among people who are concerned about this is this may be the death knell finally because Section 2 is so pivotal to the law.
And given how this court has not shied away from
swinging big.
Yeah. From swinging big. And some, there's an expression in the law that says just because you can doesn't mean you should. Every time this court has an opportunity to go big instead of making a very
except with
narrow
birthright citizenship, which they are going to hear again this year. So
let's keep our fingers crossed on that. But they're going to go big, and I think there's going to be some serious ramifications as a result of that.
All right, Mary and Jim will still be here after the bottom of the hour news, but first, ABC.
From ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. Alex Jones, pay up. The Supreme Court rejecting an appeal by the conspiracy theorist who gaslit Sandy Hook families by claiming their kindergartners and first graders weren't really killed. He has to pay them $1.4 billion. Buying a car? Buckle up. Kelley Blue Book says new car prices have topped $50,000 for the first time. New car or old, at least we're saving a few cents at the pump, says ABC's Gio Benitez.
The average price of gas nationwide, $3.02 a gallon. We could see drops below $3 for the first time in years. So that's really good news. The price has dropped more than 6 cents over just the past week, more than 14 cents from just a year ago.
Attorney General Pam Bondi announcing today that Facebook has removed a community group page that was an outlet for Chicagoans to share information about when ICE agents were spotted around the city. You're listening to ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 10:31, 56 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee. I'm Greg Matzik. A man connected to the case of Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan pleads no contest in a separate domestic violence case. The court found Eduardo Flores Ruiz guilty on one count of battery with 2 other battery charges dropped. He'll serve 195 days in a community reintegration center and will also receive credit for time served. Flores Ruiz previously pleaded guilty to illegally re-entering the United States and is expected to remain in federal custody until deported. 2 people died in a plane crash en route to Kenosha Monday morning. The small plane crashed on an interstate and sparked a fire in Massachusetts, injuring 1 person on the ground. Our news partners at NBC 26 report the plane's only occupants, 68-year-old Thomas Perkins and 66-year-old Agatha Perkins from Rhode Island, died. The National Traffic Safety Board is investigating the crash. And as Milwaukee considers another vehicle registration fee hike, one alderperson has another idea. Scott Spiker says his constituents have asked for alternatives to Mayor Johnson's proposed $10 wheel tax increase. Since Act 12 prevents tax levy dollars from funding the streetcar, Spiker says any hopes of expanding it have fallen off the tracks, but the question remains where money would come from to dismantle the tracks. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. All sorts of red here this morning with the Dow off about 50 points at 46,018. NASDAQ down 225 points at 22,473. And the S&P down about 40 points at 6620. For sound financial advice from a fee-only fiduciary, it's Annex Wealth Management. Go to annexwealth.com and click on the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads, a WTMJ Time Saver traffic update. Big slowdown spot here, 41-45 northbound. You're on the brakes just past Watertown Plank Road, really hitting the brakes around North Avenue. Should be back to normal speeds as you work through the construction area by the time you get to about Capitol Drive. About a 4-minute delay if you're making your way from the interchange up to County Line Road. Otherwise, a disabled vehicle about 2.5 miles off the ramp from Moreland Road going westbound on 94. Out of traffic, not really delaying anything. Otherwise, normal and standard travel times across the system. Clouds giving way to sun later on today. Breezy with a high of 63 degrees. Showers likely later this evening. Mostly cloudy at a low of 53. Morning rain on Wednesday. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies and a high of 60. Right now it's 48 in Bayfield, 59 in Brookfield, 61 in Greenfield, and 52 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:34.
Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. It goes fast. Winter is right around the corner. Hometown Windows and Doors will help you keep the warmth in and the cold out with energy-efficient windows and doors from top brands like Pella, Marvin, and Anderson. Hometown is here for you. They listen. Hometown will help you find the products for your home, your budget, and your style. Visit their beautiful showroom in New Berlin today. Hometown Windows and Doors. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. HometownWindows.com.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
Dr. Kimo Ayoun, president of Marquette University, joins us in studio. Dr. Manal Hamadan, School of Dentistry at Marquette. What are some of the specific applications of AI in dentistry?
Mostly for diagnosing conditions in the jaws and for improving the efficiency of dentists.
If we are going to prepare our students, we need to make sure that they are AI proficient.
Saturdays at 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
You ever hear a deal so good you think, what's the catch?
Yes, when I got a free gym membership, and the catch was I still had to go.
Well, right now, Capital is offering great financing, no catch.
No selling a kidney?
Nope, just easy financing and honest service during Capital Credit Days. Now through October 31st, air conditioners start as low as $65 a month, furnaces only $59 a month, or a complete system only $117 a month.
Capital, where you choose cool or cozy with no catch financing.
Call CapitalCares.com.
No matter how many people are in your family, buying new jackets for the cold weather months can be expensive. But when you shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, prices on cold weather jackets will give you a sigh of relief because thrift store prices mean great deals. And right now we have a great selection. Find great deals on cold weather jackets for the family at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
Welcome back to Point Taken. We are talking to Jim Santel and Mary Kumensch about all things legal that are above my pay grade. But all right, so that full half hour we spent just on one case. But there is so much, though. There's the Trump tariffs, gun rights, campaign finance limits, conversion therapy, same-sex marriage rights, potentially birthright citizenship again. There's a lot on the docket for this term.
Right.
What at least for today, because obviously they're not going to come up with rulings until next June, so we have a while to continue to talk about these. What do you want to get on people's radar right now as far as cases you find interesting?
Sure. Just last week, this is called reading the tea leaves, right? We won't know until June, but Childs versus Salazar, that was the conversion therapy case you just mentioned. It appears, again, we don't know for sure, that the majority of the Supreme Court may be prompted to overturn Colorado's ban on conversion therapy. We don't know. It's a case being brought by a therapist who says her free speech rights are affected by her religious rights, also by the fact that she can no longer speak to her clients, people who come in and get treatment for her. It appears that the Supreme Court, at least a majority, may be inclined to say, Colorado, you are infringing on her rights by virtue of imposing this ban on her conduct. Fascinating case. We'll see in June, right?
As a judge, it's
right.
really hard for me to say this or to admit this, but I'd be disingenuous if I didn't. And I had an interesting conversation with two of my brothers who are physicians, and we were talking about John Roberts and Justice Coney Barrett, and
on this case specifically.
On their being the sort of swing votes of the conservatives that liberals and moderates have to hope on certain issues are going to vote with the minority. I see that happening. My brother said absolutely not. The writing's on the wall, and you can tell. Unfortunately, I think one of your listeners has already written in along these lines that you can tell how they're going to rule on these cases just by the fact that the cases that they chose to rule on.
And also just their line of questioning
their line of questioning once they're in oral argument.
Yeah.
But the types of questions the legal questions, the constitutional issues that they want to rule on are dictated by the types of cases that they've chosen.
Right.
They chose this Louisiana versus Calais for a reason. They chose the conversion therapy for a reason. And because the majority has already shown its hand, I have a feeling, and I hate saying this again, that they've prejudged, but in my opinion, the writing's on the wall. I don't think it's going to go well for either of those particular issues. I think the Voting Rights Act is definitely going to be called into question, and that's a serious it goes way beyond, and people have to understand that it goes way beyond, gerrymandering issues and things of that kind. I'm concerned that they're going to go too far when they don't have to. But it sounds like, and it looks like they want to. They want to make some significant rulings on the Voting Rights Act. I think they want to talk about the conversion therapy, and that's a social issue again. It has sexual connotations, and this court has not shied away from that. They looked at the Abortion Act. They're looking at LGBTQ issues, and I'm very concerned that the majority on this court is really going to dictate major social issues in this country that we have seen as the norm. That they're going to overturn those things and that we're going to be living with these things for the next 40, 50 years.
So when we talk about, from my understanding, conversion therapy is a debunked treatment. So it's
Absolutely.
like if this were to get overturned, what other treatments could be considered free speech that debunked methods of some kind of medical practice?
That's nonsensical.
Then
Why
professionals can then be like, well, it's my free speech to give this kind of treatment, even though my medical associations disavow it.
Right. 20 states around the nation have banned this. It was a part of the oral argument last week. Amazingly, Amy Coney Barrett asking, what's the harm in all of this? And fundamentally, the state solicitor general says, with due respect, Madam Associate Justice, the harm comes from telling someone that there is something innate about yourself you can change, and then you spend all kinds of time and effort trying to do that, and you fail. So the point is, again, during the course of oral argument, an awful lot of discussion about what it is that medical authorities say. We know that the overwhelming majority say this is not only ineffective, but it's actually affirmatively harmful. Mm-hmm. The issue is, however, whether or not, to your point, what is the implication of someone coming in and saying my religious beliefs, especially my First Amendment rights, are affected when, in fact, I cannot have these conversations with my therapist. If they rule in her favor, yes, could be narrow as to Colorado, but all the other states also, depending upon how their particular bans, Wisconsin has one that basically says you can't use state and federal monies to support conversion therapy. How will that impact 20 other states? No small thing. Depends a lot, again, upon how they write this decision. Huge. The other thing I'll mention very quickly, Bost versus Illinois, that was Wednesday of last week. This is our folks to our immediate south here. Illinois has got a law that says you can count ballots 14 days after the election day if they've been properly postmarked. And the question there is whether or not that is legal. Can you count ballots after Election Day, even though they've been properly postmarked and submitted?
And the Seventh Circuit, which has two of our really fine jurists on it, Mike Brennan and Diane Sykes, have said no. And you don't even have standing because you got elected. Yeah. Where is the harm, Mr. Councilman? And yet we've now got the Supreme Court taking this up because they want to overturn the Seventh Circuit, which is considered one of the better circuits in our country. And they're sticking their nose in things that they don't have to, in my opinion. I think the Supreme Court is the example of, you want to talk about activist judges. They are the most activist judges. There are so many issues that they do not need to take up or disrupt that they can let the district courts rule on, and yet they want to stick their nose in that. And I'd be interested to see, given that our military vote by, and our president votes by mail, what they're going to say about extending this out for 14 days so that they can count all of those, as long as it's been postmarked on or before the actual election day.
All right, let's take a break. Mary and Jim will still be here after that on Point Taken.
Hey, this is Steve Scafidi for Advent. I had some snoring issues that kept my wife up at night. That led to poor sleep and a lot of tired mornings on the radio, and nobody wants that, trust me. But it's simply, my nose wasn't working the way it should. I decided to go to Advent for a quick 30-minute visit, one of their great facilities, talk to a bunch of their doctors. They really put me at ease. After a really simple sleep study at home, in my own bed, they determined the root cause of my problem had to do with my sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. I didn't even know I had a breathing triangle until I went to see Advent. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing well, and my wife and I are both back to sleeping through the whole night. The best sleep we've ever had, that could be you. If you struggle with restless nights like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your life and your nights a whole lot better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
Does
Does your bathroom belong in a haunted house? Or maybe it's just time for a refresh. WTMJ and Sidex are back with the Beautiful Bathroom Contest. One lucky listener will win a tub or shower conversion valued up to $10,000. It's easy. Snap a pic of your scary shower, terrifying tub, or even just one you're tired of. And enter now at WTMJ.com. Sidex makes it easy to go from fright to fabulous.
You gotta get to Built Right today. Vince Vitrano here to tell you about Built Right's 97th anniversary mattress celebration. The one location saves you time and money, and they make it easy to shop and easy to buy. Built Right beats any big box, national or local chain store, department store, online retailer, warehouse club, or employee-free store because they have the guaranteed lowest prices. Built Right also has the best value, selection, and experienced team in Wisconsin. Over 60 models all on display. 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best mattress brands made in the USA. Heirloom, Gold Bond, Therapeutic, Restonic, and Schiffman. Built Right specializes in hard-to-find, flippable, two-sided, and heavy-duty mattresses. They can hold up to 600 pounds. Plus, Built Right offers free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $7.99 or more. Built Right saves you money. Voted best place to shop. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, closed to be with family. Tell them Vinny sent you to Built Right, 54th and Layton Avenue in Greenfield.
With over 57 years of experience, family-owned Yutka Fence installs high-quality fencing with residential options, including vinyl, wood, aluminum, chain link, and ornamental fences. Committed to craftsmanship and customer service, Yutka Fence doesn't just build fences, they build relationships based on care, trust, precision, and protecting what matters most. Mention you're a WTMJ fan for 10% off your project. Schedule your free estimate today at yutkafence.com or call 262-859-3226.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlawns.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Rich Lawns.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. We're here talking to Mary Queen Mensch and Jim Santel. So we had this question last week, but we had so many other things to talk about last week. But we're in the middle of a shutdown. Doesn't look like we're going to have much more movement this week. At least I have not read any signs that things are starting to be negotiated on. But with this is liberties that the administration is taking to get their message across that this is the Democrats' fault, including which Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, has a video that she wanted to be played in airports. And now several major U.S. airports are refusing to play that video.
By the way, SNL had a great, Tina Fey did a great.
I missed it.
It was wonderful. It was a cold open and it was hilarious.
And then Amy Poehler played Pam Bondi, right?
Yes, right. Yep.
And so the Hatch Act obviously comes up as far as an administration's ability to play politics and partisan politics while in office. But is it kind of just like, well, that's not going to happen because there's no one there to prosecute the Hatch Act?
You know, this is an issue that's sort of near and dear to both Jim's and my. We've been friends for over almost 30 years, and Jim and I have spent our entire professional careers as public servants. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to say that our fellow public servants, for the majority, both federal and state, Jim comes from the federal side, I come from the state side, and they're just wonderful, human beings that work in the trenches, that are honest, that serve their neighbors. And we live by at both the state and the federal level. At the federal level, it's the Hatch Act plus the ethics code. We have an ethics code at the state level that we have to adhere to, that judges have to fill out. Even reserve and retired judges like myself have to fill out, talking about our finances and everything else. And it's public information. People can look it up. And we know that we're bound by a code of ethics that says that we cannot enrich ourselves from our jobs. And yet every day we are seeing in this administration, not to say that it hasn't happened in others, because it has. I think Congress is sinful and obscene in the way that they've benefited from the stock markets and their inside knowledge of trading. And that's across the board, both Democrats and Republicans. But beyond that, we now have a Justice Department that one of the very first things they did, Kristin, at the federal level, is they disbanded the Public Corruptions Act. Jim was the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Wisconsin. In his office, he had one division that did nothing but prosecute. Every U.S. Attorney's office across this country did that. There was an actual department just like there was for civil rights, for civil, for criminal. All of those departments are in the Justice Department in Washington, D.C., and that was disbanded. Why? So that they would have a free hand to do whatever they were going to do and enrich themselves any way they wanted to by taking $50,000 bribes and saying, well, I don't know anything about that. Well, it's on video. Look at it. Then you'll know about it. I mean, it's so disingenuous the way they're approaching ethics at the federal level. If our country should be upset about anything, it should be the total lack of the ethics that we are as individuals, as a president, as Congress, as our department heads. All of them are without a moral compass right now, and it's shameful that we had the president hawking Teslas on the front yard of the White House. That is a violation of an ethics act. The Hatch Act dates back to 1939, as Jim can tell you. Carl Hatch was a senator from New Mexico who said that people should not, public servants should not benefit or enhance themselves or enrich themselves because of their jobs, because of their careers. And for the most part, we have done that, except this administration disbanded the Public Corruption Division of the Justice Department. So Kristin Noem is free to do whatever she wants in terms of being partisan and showing videos and disparaging at U.S. airports, disparaging Democrats. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to state what your party affiliation is as a department head, or even as a cabinet member.
Right. And using the mechanisms of your office to accomplish something that's political. We've talked so much in this program about this confluence of politics and justice and the breakdown of that wall that used to exist between the White House and the Department of Justice. This is yet another illustration of that. When, as Mary said, the public integrity folks, the prosecutors, the investigators, when they're no longer there, who is to enforce this? And you've got an executive branch that does what it wants then, and there is no one there to say no. There's no one to push back on this because the wall has been destroyed.
The money he's making on this crypto business.
Yeah.
But Kristin Noem or any other, the Secretary of Defense, whenever they cross over into using their office to advance politics, to advance the Republicans, or if a Democrat were to do it, to enhance the Democratic Party, and to use the mechanisms of your office to do that, that is in violation of the Hatch Act. It's in violation of your ethics code. But without any Department of Justice prosecutors prosecuting those things, they're free to do what they want. And that's a scary thing because it encourages the breaking down of the rule of law in this country. And if that goes, we might as well close the doors to the courthouse.
So another example of this is not normal. All right, we'll take one more break and then come back and close it out with Mary and Jim.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scafidi from Milwaukee Weight Loss. Yes, I can't believe it, but you should believe it because I lost now 46 pounds since January. How did I do it? Milwaukee Weight Loss. Not the shots, not the gimmicky stuff, the meals, bars, shakes, just hard work, willpower, eating less, still getting my 10,000 steps in, but it reset my metabolism because I've been off the reduction program for a while now, and I was actually still losing some weight. And the weight comes off. It's doctor-developed and natural and helped thousands of people just like me, and certainly you lose that body weight in just 8 weeks, then you got to maintain. Most people, 20, 30 pounds of weight loss. If you have a reunion or a wedding or a vacation you're looking forward to, this is the answer for you. It was for me. Milwaukee Weight Loss, incredible team. Their coaches are amazing. Part of the success story that I had was those coaches at Milwaukee Weight Loss. Schedule your free consultation today or go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com or call 262-393-2334. I'm reading it slow because somebody said, you're reading it too fast. 262-393-2334. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ Steve Scafidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit LoyalFamilyRenovations.com.
All types of injury lawyers advertise. Cartoon lawyers, bobblehead lawyers, and folks chasing ambulances with text messages. Our clients don't want or need such lawyers. Our clients know, like, and trust that Pasternak and Zergabel will help in their time of need. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak and Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are excellent personal injury lawyers in our community. If you need help after an injury, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com. That's injurywisconsin.com.
The Fox and Hound Supper Club is hiring qualified kitchen expediters, ensuring food quality is at its highest standard. And bussers. You'll make real money working nights and weekends. Parents, tell your kids, inquire today, start next week. It's the real deal. Contact the Fox and Hounds.
Your way inside the huddle.
Hut 1, hut 2.
Without putting on any pads. It's Green and Gold Insiders on Wisconsin's Afternoon News. Every day of the regular season at 4:15.
We asked Matt LaFleur today, what are you hoping to get out of this bye week? And his answer was one word: health.
Green and Gold Insiders is presented by Window Nation. It's Green and Gold Insiders all season long, right here on WTMJ. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right, we got about 2 minutes to wrap things up with Mary and Jim. I'll ask this question because, at least on a local level, just your guys' thoughts, because twice now, the Wisconsin Supreme Court has rejected hearing the congressional redistricting case. Now there is another lawsuit filed trying to challenge them again, and there's liberal firms urging the Wisconsin Supreme Court to move forward with this. What is the difference with the current active filing, and what argument are they making that's different than the ones that have been filed in the past that got rejected? Well, so is there any chance that they'll actually do this? We need your mic on. We got it.
It's not. I don't think much, Kristin. But and quite honestly, if I was a betting person, I would say that I don't think the court's going to take it up. I think there's a lot of other issues they've done and dusted. This has already come up. It's based on the same general principles as the prior ones. They've already ruled. Okay. They've got too many other cases that they've got to get to, and I just don't see that taking up their time on this calendar.
The interesting little wrinkle here is there's this 3-judge panel provision. Yeah. They're invoking the law that says that could add some interest to it. But I agree with Mary that there's a lot going on here.
Well,
right
and it just seems like move on. It's halfway through. I don't know.
And I think that's how the court's gonna. They're not gonna put it quite that way, but I think that they won't like the U.S. Supreme Court. They'll find a reason why they don't have to take it.
Got it. All right. Well, as always, lovely having you both here. It goes way too quickly. I'm happy that we'll have to have you back soon to talk about these other
honored.
court cases.
You can tune in tomorrow, a live argument. You can hear it live on 9 a.m. our time. Louisiana versus Calais. You can hear the Supreme Court justices argue with each other and with attorneys about this major case tomorrow morning.
Is it on C-SPAN?
It is probably on C-SPAN, but you can go on the Supreme Court website and pull up the live audio, and you can listen to Amy Coney Barrett.
Do you have streaming numbers for that, of how many people actually do that? How many legal nerds out there are listening to it live?
Exactly, right? How dorky am I, right?
All right. Well, thank you both. We'll see you soon. Have a great day, and we'll have the top of the hour news after this.
I'm with James Imaging Systems client Preston Clark. He oversees IT services at Creative Business Interiors. Preston, you get the benefit of one-on-one relationships with the James team, like when your sales rep said something unexpected. What did they say?
Hey, this is a little high. You're not printing as much as we thought you were going to print.
Then the James team member had even better news.
Correct. Let's bring that down. Let's make it a little cheaper and still keep you on the same program.
The James Managed Print Services Program. All your document output devices bundled under one invoice that includes service and supplies for one low cost per print. Nice, right, Preston?
Yes, felt great. Felt secure, Don't have to worry about, again, somebody just coming in and selling something and then walking away and never hearing from them again.
James Imaging Systems, AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Kristin Brey, and if you're in the market for a new dentist, you should check out my dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economowoc Dental Care. Dr. Michaels is committed to providing you with the highest level of care possible. I can assure you that he will prioritize your needs, no matter how sensitive, just like he did with mine. And also, he will be honest with you about what work you need now and what can wait. So whether you need a simple cleaning and exam, a teeth whitening, a more complex dental procedure, Economowoc Dental Care is always there to make you feel as comfortable as possible and give you and your family an amazing smile. And dental care doesn't have to break the bank. Dr. Dr. Michael's fantastic staff can set you up with a no-interest payment plan. Listen, we all have to go to the dentist, so don't put it off any longer. Call and make an appointment today with my dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economowalk Dental Care. You can find him at drmichaelsdentalcare.com or give him a call at 262-567-7224.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
The best team in baseball taking on the defending champs.
And the Brewers have a date with the Dodgers. Uribe deals to Carson Kelly, swinging a bouncer to short. Ortiz has it, and the Brewers are going to the championship series.
The Brewers host the Dodgers in Game 2 of the NLCS. Our radio network game day coverage starts tonight at 6:30. October runs through the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 11 o'clock, it's 61 degrees. Plenty of sunshine, breezy conditions today, a high getting up to 63. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Neil Doyle. A man connected to the case of Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan pleads no contest in a separate domestic violence case. Eduardo Flores Ruiz entered an Alford plea and was found guilty on one count of battery. 2 other battery charges were dropped. He was sentenced to 195 days with credit for time served. Flores Ruiz previously pleaded guilty to illegally re-entering the U.S. Judge Dugan is accused of obstructing federal ICE agents from arresting Flores Ruiz outside of her Milwaukee courtroom back in April. Dugan is heading to trial in December. As Milwaukee considers another vehicle registration fee hike, one common council member has another idea.
Alderman Scott Spiker says his constituents have asked for alternatives to Mayor Johnson's proposed $10 wheel tax increase.
One glaring case where there's potential budgetary savings is in the Milwaukee streetcar.
Since Wisconsin's Act 12 prevents tax levy dollars from funding the HOP, Spiker says any hopes of expanding it have fallen off the tracks.
That 2.1 mile loop locked downtown ain't going to grow. It's going to stay in place. It's going to be a loop.
But the question remains how the city would pay for dismantling the tracks. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Day 14 of the federal government shut down, and there seems like there's no end in sight.
In a post on social media, the White House Office of Management and Budget says it's prepared to ride out the Democrats during the ongoing shutdown, adding, pay the troops, pay law enforcement, continue the rifts and wait. The post by OMB comes after the president announced this weekend the administration has identified funds to pay the military tomorrow. It's still unclear if it also has found or is seeking money to pay federal law enforcement. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
A Pennsylvania man pleading guilty today to firebombing Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home back in April.
Cody Ballmer threw several Molotov cocktails into Shapiro's home while the governor and his family were inside asleep. They got out safely. Ballmer called 911 an hour later.
Governor Josh Shapiro needs to know that Cody Ballmer will not take part in his plans for what he wants to do to the Palestinian people.
Video caught Ballmer trying to get into the mansion. He told police he wanted to beat Shapiro with a hammer. He pleaded guilty to attempted first-degree murder, terrorism, and arson, and was sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Last year, Instagram rolling out teen accounts, which the company says are designed to create a safer online environment for younger people. Now the feature getting a major update.
Instagram users under 18 will now have tighter controls on language, images, and themes turned on automatically. Tara Hopkins, Global Director of Public Policy at Instagram, says it's the type of content you'd see in a PG-13 movie.
We're doing this to really speak the language of parents who are much more familiar with movie ratings in terms of kind of a familiar model for those who are using Instagram.
Also, teens won't be able to opt out of the system without permission from a parent. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow was up 163 points at 46,231. The NASDAQ down 132, sitting at 22,562. And the S&P 500 down just about 10 points at 6,644. Financial planning at every level: Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
We're still rolling out the fun at Fleet Farm's Oktoberfest. Stop in for a free brat Saturday the 18th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. While you're there, be sure to enter our candy corn count contest for a chance to win a Fleet Farm gift card. Plus, don't miss our truckload super sale happening October 16th through the 19th. We've got crazy good deals in store only, so bring your own truck and load up. Come on in for October festivities all month long at Fleet Farm. And thanks for shopping with us.
Hey, John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. It's kindness, it's compassion, it's very specialized training. Their mission is to transform the culture of care, and they're doing that every single day. I've been in their places. I've seen how they love and take care of people with cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, or other related dementia symptoms. In part at Azura, they do such a great job because their staff goes through specialized training. They're going to take great care of you. Locations throughout southeast Wisconsin, Wisconsin-based, family-owned. It's Azura.
At Hazelden Betty Ford, treating mental health isn't just about breaking old patterns. It's about braving new ones. As the leader in alcohol and drug treatment for 75 years, we know caring for addiction, anxiety, depression, and trauma goes hand in hand. We're here for you with new tools when life breaks down. Discover your path to better mental health at hazeldenbettyford.org/Wisconsin. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation.
This week on What's on Tap with Sandy Max, discover why St. Kate, the Arts Hotel, is the perfect stop before or after your next concert, play, or performance. We're joined by Chris Schiefelbein, St. Kate's food and beverage manager, to talk about the brand new studio kitchen and creative cocktails that celebrate the arts. Whether you're meeting friends before the show or winding down after, St. Kate's bars and restaurants are the place to be. Running late? Grab pizza or sushi ready in minutes. Get acquainted with creativity. Learn more at stkatearts.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. Brewers looking to rebound tonight, Game 2 of the NLCS, after dropping Game 1 to the Dodgers 2-1. Pat Murphy's lineup could not figure out the Dodgers and starter Blake Snell, who struck out 10 over 8 innings.
He didn't go back and forth. He just went change up, and the ball was moving so much, and it was such a great pitch. He recognized it and stayed with it. He was unbelievable.
The Crew had a chant in the ninth. They got the bases loaded before Bryce Terang ended up striking out to finish the ball game. Freddie Peralta will take the ball here tonight in Game 2. All of our coverage starting right after the 6 o'clock news with Brewers warm-up. One final preseason game for the Bucks tonight as they'll be home against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Bucks then start the regular season in 1 week against the Wizards. Take a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Just a couple of disabled vehicles out on the system. Otherwise, everything looking good. And your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Plenty of sunshine, a bit breezy today, a high of 63. Tonight, some showers likely with cloudy conditions, a low down to 53. Could see some showers early tomorrow, otherwise cloudy and a high of 60. Slight chance for showers and storms on Thursday, highs in the mid-60s. Friday will be partly cloudy, a bit warmer, high of 71. And then Saturday, some shower chances with a high around 70. Right now, 59 in Sheboygan. It is 59 in Waukesha and sitting at 61 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scafidi and Kristin Brey.
Hello, welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour. This is the last. We have 2.5 shows until Steve comes back. Steve will be back on Friday. I woke up to a picture from him looking very tan. His silver hair looked extra silver with that base tan that he's been able to get these last, I guess it's been over a week now. I think it'll be 2 weeks in total by the time he gets back. So we miss him. We're ready for him to be back, but we're carrying on, having fun in his absence. So this is kind of old news at this point, but we never ended up covering it on the show. And so I wanted to circle back because it's a big deal. So you might have heard the news a couple weeks ago that Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin has paused abortions amid federal Medicaid funding cuts. So it was announced a couple weeks ago at the end of September that they would Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin had stopped scheduling any sort of abortion services in order to protect and be able to continue to serve all of the other medical services that they provide to people. And so what popped up for me was maybe a dumb question, because I don't know why I didn't know the answer to this. But as far as like the who, what, and where and why you can have access to abortion in Wisconsin and across the state, and why it's something that a OBGYN that you like delivers your baby can't provide. So who did I ask? My friend, Dr. Kristin Lyerly, who is an OBGYN, and you might have heard that name when she was running for Congress last cycle in Wisconsin's 8th Congressional District. But she joins us now to kind of just answer some of the history of access to abortion care, and also maybe explain a little bit of where we are right now with the Planned Parenthood lawsuit and access there. So welcome to the show, Dr. Lyerly.
Well, thank you, Kristin Brey. And we all miss Steve, but how often do you get a Kristin combo?
That's true, especially spelled the right way.
Right?
With the double I. It's the only way, it's the only symmetrically, aesthetically appealing way to spell Kristin is Kristin, not E-N.
That's right.
I don't know if
we'll fight you for
that
it
was
too.
the default, but doesn't look as good. All right, Dr. Lyerly. So I guess before we get into kind of the history lesson, where are we right now? Kind of explain what the legal fight of this is, but also what the One Big Beautiful Bill did to Planned Parenthood.
Hey, first, I want to acknowledge that it has been really hard to know what you can access, what kind of care you can provide, just because the landscape has changed so much. For many years, over a decade, it was little thing after little thing that was just picking away at our ability to access and provide care. And then it was this roller coaster with the 1849 law, and what could we do and what couldn't we do? And then it was back, and now Planned Parenthood is putting it on pause. Like, what, as a person, what can you do? And as a doctor, what can I do? So here's the answer. Abortion is legal in Wisconsin up until 20 weeks post-fertilization age. That's how the law is written. That is, by the way, not a medical term, which is weird. Our laws should be written in medical terms with data and evidence, and that is a very political term. So, setting that aside, Planned Parenthood has decided to pause abortion care in the 3 clinics where they offered abortion services: Sheboygan, Madison, and Milwaukee. And that's because the Trump administration had put into the Big Beautiful Bill this provision that was intentionally planned to defund Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood only provides about 4% of their services are abortion services. The rest of it is family planning, it's STI screening for sexually transmitted infections, it's contraception, it's cancer screening, it's preventive care, so much other stuff. But the way that the bill was written would take down Planned Parenthood clinics all across the country. So Wisconsin was the first state to say, we don't know exactly what this means for us legally, and we don't want our patients who need all of these other services, and there are so many people who rely on these other services. They can't get it elsewhere. They can't afford it elsewhere because Planned Parenthood offers it on a sliding scale. So they make it affordable. And if these people can't get it there, it's not like they can just, walk into some other doctor's office. They can't afford it. So this is the sacrifice that they've made. The hope is that it's temporary. We honestly don't know what the forecast is for the future. The good news is, though, when it comes to abortion care, that there are 2 clinics still in Milwaukee, Care for All and affiliated. Both are excellent. Care for All is brand new. Affiliated has been there for a long time. Both are there. They're fully running. They're busy. They're patient focused. And if you can get yourself to Milwaukee, you can get the services that you need.
So that's what's kind of crazy about this is like there was all these legal battles in Wisconsin to go back to what the laws were on the book pre-Dobbs. But so now it is legally available. It's just not actually accessible for many because of the bottleneck on who actually provides abortion services. And so this was the question I had for you, because I'm in the case of the life of the mother, let's say, when it's a planned pregnancy, it's a wanted pregnancy, and we hear these terrible stories of things that happen into the second trimester, even into the third trimester. And in those cases, it is technically an abortion when it is like a woman's going to go septic. There's a miscarriage, all these different things that can happen. And in those cases, it's still called an abortion, and it happens in a hospital setting, right?
Yes.
And so where is this line that in hospitals or in treatment that they do not provide, under my understanding, like first trimester abortions, but then they can in the case of emergency? Like, where is the rules as far as who actually can provide abortion services and when?
I'm going to tell you how it is.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you that this has just kind of been a culture thing that has developed over the years since Roe. So when Roe happened, a lot of hospital systems, a lot of physicians didn't want the specter of abortion hanging over them. They didn't want the protesters. They didn't want the ugliness. They didn't want to have to deal with that. So what ended up happening was we developed abortion clinics like Planned Parenthood, like Care for All, like Affiliated, because regular doctors just didn't want that to be, and not just doctors, but doctors in hospital systems didn't want that to be part of what they provided. As a result of that, over time, it kind of just became baked in, and we just got used to it. So now, in general, anywhere in the state, if you go to seek abortion care, for the most part, especially first trimester abortion care, like what you typically think of as an abortion, you will often be sent to an abortion clinic. One of the biggest problems is that now more doctors are understanding, younger doctors who are coming up in this environment, and they're understanding how important it is to advocate for our patients and to provide these kinds of services. We want to do this. But because most of us are now employed, it's now the hospital systems that are saying no. It's the hospital systems that don't want to deal with it. So, I'll share a personal example. When I started my own practice, or when I joined a practice up here in Northeast Wisconsin back in 2013, there was a protester who would walk outside in front of the place where there was an abortion clinic, and the hospital very much wanted that to disappear. So they made a decision not to allow the new doctors to provide that kind of standard abortion care. And even though my partners and I wanted to do it, the hospital system said no. We could still provide those life-saving abortions, but we had to jump through a bunch of hoops in order to do it. 24-hour waiting period, all of these things, unless it was an emergency. And it was a lot of rigmarole where we had to do a lot of paperwork in order to provide the care that our patients needed. And that's not healthcare. That is not how it's supposed to be. When you show up to see your doctor and you have a need, you should be able to get the diagnostic testing, all of the options that you need, and you should be able to pick out your own treatment. And it should be able to be provided by your doctor in your hospital system. But that is not how our culture has evolved. But the bright side is we are getting back to that. Doctors are wanting to do that. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, my professional organization, has recently written a very strongly worded statement saying that hospitals and hospital systems need to provide doctors the autonomy to be able to provide this kind of patient care. So I think we're moving back in that direction, but it's not going to be fast. It's going to be a long, slow process.
Well, and it's interesting because I would say in the political environment, it's hard for me to imagine that happening very fast. But we're talking to Dr. Kristin Lyerly. When we come back, we're going to move on from this topic and talk a little bit more about the medical community, whether it's the CDC or different associations, and how they are adapting under this administration with sometimes conflicting directives. Is that a fair way to put it? Sure. All right, stay with us on Point Taken.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
What makes Hasselus mattress different?
Aside from employee-free showrooms, free next-day delivery and haul-away, and way too low prices on Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, and Serta Perfect Sleeper?
Yeah, besides that.
Well, Hasselus is locally owned.
You mean your franchise is locally owned?
We're not a franchise. Every showroom is owned and managed by the same family. So, when you shop at Hasselus, your money stays right here. And through Monday, our family wants to give you a $200 $248 credit towards a new Beauty Rest, Sealy Posturepedic, and Perfect Sleeper just for shopping local.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Our 43 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393.
I like that.
Try and buy with no pushy sales guide.
I love that.
Free next day delivery too.
Thanks.
For what?
For being different.
Shop local and enjoy a $248 credit through Monday at Hassellus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find a no-hassle, employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
Does your bathroom belong in a haunted house? Or maybe it's just time for a refresh. WTMJ and Sidex are back with the beautiful bathroom contest. One lucky listener will win a tub or shower conversion valued up to $10,000. It's easy. Snap a pic of your scary shower, terrifying tub, or even just one you're tired of. And enter now at WTMJ.com. Sidex makes it easy to go from fright to fabulous.
Shop smarter with Higher Love Cannabis Company in Menominee, Michigan, just a few seconds across the Wisconsin border. Award-winning, organically grown, quality products you can trust. Don't settle for knockoffs in Wisconsin. Get the real deal at findhigherlove.com/CBD.
I'm Brett Matchke, and you're due for service.
Richlands.
Welcome back to Point Taken. We are talking to Dr. Kristin Lyerly, who is an OBGYN advocate, former candidate, Democratic candidate for Wisconsin's 8th Congressional District. And I wanted to get your thoughts, because obviously you did not win your race. Very hard fought, but you are now back to practicing. You have a lot of plates that you juggle, but you sit on a lot of different boards as well, as far as in the medical community. And so, we saw this week that the CDC, there's lots of turmoil going on in the CDC in general, but the newest one is the fact that there was layoffs, and then some people weren't supposed to get laid off, and so they're coming back. It feels like there's obviously every week there's conversations around Tylenol's impact on autism and just some of the talking points coming about science. And I wanted to get your input, at least personal anecdotes of how people in your community, your peers, are adapting with whether it's RFK or the administration, because it just feels like very unstable ground right now.
It is really unstable ground. And just like with abortion, there's so much confusion because it's so chaotic. J.D. Vance was acknowledging this over the weekend in the many interviews that he did, that, yeah, we fired people and we're not always going to get it right. And we're bringing people back and there's going to be chaos. There doesn't need to be chaos. And in this setting, there shouldn't be chaos. There should be expertise. There should be knowledge. There should be evidence, but there shouldn't be chaos. With regards to the CDC, they publish information that doctors like me, doctors all over the country, use every single day as we're taking care of our patients. It's the MMWR, the Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report. They tell us what is popping up. Where are the measles cases? How do we treat them? Where is the drug-resistant gonorrhea? Things that you don't even want to think about, but we need to know. But now what's happened is the CDC has fired that entire team. So doctors
Wait, is that
on
the team
ground,
that got fired, or is that the team that got brought back?
Hey, did they get brought back?
I thought that was the team that got back because of the importance of that report.
Maybe they did. I haven't seen that news, but they
Okay.
definitely got fired in that first 9 p.m. holiday weekend big firing spree that they went on. But it's not just them. It's all of the people who are out in the field doing the epidemiological work, who are investigating the food outbreaks, the measles outbreaks, all of those things that they then sequester and keep in Texas or Minnesota or Pennsylvania so that it doesn't spread all over the place. This is a ton of work. And those folks now are not there. They don't have the pathway to get that information back to us, to Congress, where it needs to go. So doctors like me are just trying to get through the day. We're busy. We have a lot of patients. We don't have time to deal with all of the political stuff. That's why you don't see doctors on TV that often talking about this kind of stuff, because we're not trained, we're uncomfortable, and we're really focused on patient care. But I do this because physicians have to talk about what's really happening. I mean, I think Susan Menares is a great example of this. She's the CDC director who is a Trump supporter, who was elevated by RFK Jr., and then subsequently fired a month later when she refused to rubber stamp the vaccine recommendations without actually reviewing them, when she refused to just fire people because he told her to. She has experience. She is there for a reason. And even though she's a Trump supporter and an RFK friendly person, she felt an obligation to medicine, and she lost her job as a result of it. We have completely lost our bearings in this country when it comes to the NIH, the CDC. Everything under HHS is entirely politicized right now, and it's so difficult for us as doctors and patients to trust the information that we're seeing coming from them.
And so because I think there's a certain extent that like, all right, this is one administration. And so is there thoughts that like, all right, with the next administration, maybe it will go back to normal, and you just kind of like keep your head down and take care of your patients and like ride out the storm? Or I guess it's more of that, of like, how do you, because so many people tune out like say you have a job where you can just tune out the news, focus on your job, you keep going. But it just feels like your guys' job is inextricably linked to some of the decisions that are being made at the federal, national level. That how do you insulate yourself and continue to provide the best care that you can in the times that we're in?
Just like everybody else, you put your head down and you get your work done.
Okay.
And you just wait for a better day and you hope it's coming. We don't have enough doctors. We don't have enough nurses, and we're not training enough people to fill the deficit and the future need. Remember, the baby boomers are coming, and the baby boomers are huge healthcare consumers. And they're living in rural areas where we're losing rural hospitals. The Trump administration's big, beautiful bill cut rural healthcare funding by 2/3. They say $500 billion. What they actually did was take away a lot of money. So rural hospitals are living on the brink. People who live in rural communities are struggling to get access, and doctors are not practicing in those communities. What is on the horizon is a very, very unsettling future for all of us. And I can see it. My colleagues can see it. People who are really paying attention can see it, but I think the average person can't. And that's really distressing.
All right. Take a breath. Anything? Let's end on a positive note. Anything positive happening right now that you'd like to give a quick shout out for before I let you go?
Yeah, people are fighting back. We're all fighting back. I mean, No Kings is this weekend. So many of my colleagues we have doubled the number of people at the Committee to Protect Healthcare, which is a patient-facing advocacy organization where I chair the board. We have over 40,000 doctors all across the country doing this work, using our voices in the places where we need to be using our voices. And since last November, our numbers have doubled. So doctors are stepping up, nurses are stepping up, patients are stepping up. Our stories are compelling. They're so incredibly important, and we can't stop using them. This is how we get out of this. This is where our hope lives, Kristin.
All right. Dr. Kristin Lyerly, thank you for your time today, and we'll talk to you later.
Yes, you will. Thank you, my friend.
Stay with us on Point Taken.
They saved over $50,000 after we sold their home at only 1.9%. You don't have to pay 6% to market and sell your home. Hundreds of Century 21 Benefit Realty clients will attest. You can get it all for only 1.9%. The more value your home has, the more important it is to find the best real estate commission and the marketing ability to get top dollar. And with Century 21 behind us, that's what we have. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. Half a century of marketing expertise joined with over 20 years of local market knowledge. Not to mention the savings you'll see after you get our best commission right up front, which, by the way, is only 1.9% on the listing side of your home. Join that together and you can be sure that you've chosen the right real estate experts who have the experience to market your home effectively and give you a commission that'll end up paying for things like new furniture. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it! Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here with a refreshing offer for a bath or shower remodel from Kohler Services. And this month only, get 0 interest financing for 12 months and a free shower door with your Lugstone shower remodel. My new friend Chris from Oostburg is one of their skilled installers who demos your existing bath or shower, removes it, and disposes it before installing your brand new dream shower. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Your way inside the huddle.
Hut 1, hut 2.
Without putting on any pads. It's Green and Gold Insiders on Wisconsin's Afternoon News. Every day of the regular season at 4:15.
We asked Matt LaFleur today, what are you hoping to get out of this bye week? And his answer was one word: health.
Green and Gold Insiders is presented by Window Nation. It's Green and Gold Insiders all season long, right here on WTMJ.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. A lot of guests this week. Tomorrow I'm excited. I know on this station we covered a lot of the documentary Just a Bit Outside, which I still have not seen. I'm going to stream it. I know I'm going to stream it this week with my husband. But that same team, producing team, has a new movie that they're getting distribution for. It's called No Packers, No Life. There's going to be a world premiere at the Brookfield Marcus Theater tomorrow. And Sean Hanish is going to come back because this documentary looks awesome. I know we're in like the throes of being so excited about the Brewers. We're always excited about the Packers. But this is a documentary about the fervent Japanese Packers fans and their once-in-a-lifetime trip to Lambeau. It looks awesome. He will be here tomorrow. But first, we're going to news, and after that, talking about economy.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A day after 20 surviving hostages were released by Hamas and President Trump traveled to Israel and Egypt to sign a U.S. peace plan, there are concerns if a ceasefire will hold. 5 Palestinians killed today after Israeli forces say they approached too closely. President Trump still insisting phase 2 of the peace plan will be easier.
I think it'd be hard to find experts who will say that this next phase will be easy because there are a lot of complicated, very difficult questions right now in terms of disarming Hamas, making sure that that holds. How do you rebuild Gaza? How does that process play out? Who pays for it? And the security situation there as that process is playing out.
ABC's Karen Travers. The Senate voting again today on a measure to end the government shutdown, but party divisions remain over health care benefits. President Trump will posthumously award conservative activist Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom today in a White House ceremony. Kirk was fatally shot last month in Utah. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Neil Doyle. Just in this hour, Ascension, Wisconsin, reaching a new multi-year agreement with United Healthcare. The agreement ensures that individuals and families with United Healthcare coverage can continue receiving care at Ascension, Wisconsin's hospitals, clinics, and outpatient facilities without disruption. This includes patients covered under Medicare and Medicaid plans. The two sides had failed to agree on a contract renewal back on the October 1st deadline. At the time, Ascension said the reimbursement rates offered by United Healthcare did not keep up with the rising costs. With this new agreement, which takes effect immediately, Ascension says any services received the last 13 days will be covered at in-network rates. Patients should not be billed for out-of-network costs. A man from Milwaukee being identified as the victim of a deadly overnight shooting. The medical examiner says 34-year-old Darian Ballard was shot and died near the intersection of Fond du Lac and Hickory on the city's northwest side. Police say the shooting happened around 2 o'clock this morning when a suspect fired multiple shots in the area. No arrests have been made. And top prosecutors from 22 states, including Wisconsin, are condemning the Trump administration's prosecution of New York Attorney General Letitia James. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul and the other AGs releasing a statement saying President Trump has repeatedly broadcast his desire to arrest and prosecute James after cases were brought up against him in New York. James was indicted for bank fraud, the charges stemming from her mortgage documents in Virginia. James has called the charges baseless. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 221 points, sitting at 46,310. NASDAQ is down 59 points at 22,634. And the S&P 500 into the green, up 7 points, up 6,662. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Let's take a look at the roads. Your WTMJ time saver traffic. Pretty much no issues here as we are looking at the system. There is one incident, though, I-94 eastbound, just about 2 miles past the ramp from Moreland Road. Part of the right shoulder is blocked there due to a disabled vehicle. Otherwise, everything looking good. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Plenty of sunshine, breezy today with a high of 63. Tonight, some showers will be likely. We'll see a low down to 53. Heading into Wednesday, we could see some lingering showers early, otherwise cloudy, and a high of 60. Thursday, still some shower and storm chances, highs in the mid-60s. Friday, partly cloudy, warmer with a high around 71. And then on Saturday, some shower chances, cloudy skies, and a high of 70. Right now in Bayfield, it's 48 degrees, sitting at 59 in Waukesha and 61 degrees here in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:34.
Bring every detail of your world into clear focus with personalized eye care at Shopko Optical. Vince Vetrano here. The experienced and caring team of eye care professionals at Shopko provide comprehensive eye exams tailored to your unique vision needs. Need glasses, contacts, both? From expert care to the perfect prescription eyewear for your lifestyle. Get everything in one convenient visit. Call Shopko Optical or visit shopko.com to schedule your exam. Shopko Optical. Partners in your eye care.
No matter how many people are in your family, buying new jackets for the cold weather months can be expensive. But when you shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, prices on cold weather jackets will give you a sigh of relief because thrift store prices mean great deals. And right now we have a great selection. Find great deals on cold weather jackets for the family at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
Hi, this is Julie Coombs and Cindy Storm Fisher with Storm Fisher Investment Group. Are you a retiring professional worried about the direction of our economy, about making your money last? Come see what we can do for you. Let us show you how we take care of you to help you have a great retirement. We are at 262-796-8400 or stormfisher.com. See you soon.
Securities offered through Osaic Wealth Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Osaic Advisory Services LLC. Osaic Advisory. Osaic Wealth and Osaic Advisory are separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, and services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth and Osaic Advisory.
This week on What's on Tap with Sandy Max, discover why St. Kate, the Arts Hotel, is the perfect stop before or after your next concert, play, or performance. We're joined by Chris Schiefelbein, St. Kate's food and beverage manager, to talk about the brand new studio kitchen and creative cocktails that celebrate the arts. Whether you're meeting friends before the show or winding down after, St. Kate's bars and restaurants are the place to be. Running late? Grab pizza or sushi ready in minutes. Get acquainted with creativity. Learn more at stkatearts.com.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey, and yesterday, briefly, I got to ask Dave Spano on our weekly segment about a new Moody's Analytics report that said, this is from Mark Zandi, that said that 22 states are either in a recession or right on the edge, but Wisconsin was not on that list. And so he talked a little bit about how it is just an opinion, but I wanted to get a little bit more insight on how Wisconsin is doing, how our specific economy is doing. So who better to ask than Laura Dresser, who is the Associate Director of UW-Madison's High Road Strategy Center and the author of the State of Working Wisconsin Report, which has been coming out since 1996. Welcome to the show, Laura.
I'm delighted to be here. Thanks for having
I
me.
have to point out, though, that there's been a rebrand and that it used to be called Center on Wisconsin Strategy, which had the best acronym of being called COWS, and now it is called the High Road Strategy Center.
I know. It's a little bit, I do miss the cows days because it was a good, solid Wisconsin joke and people liked it a lot. Yeah, it makes the name makes a little more sense now, but
for the work.
Not quite as charming.
Fair enough. All right. So for people unfamiliar, what is the State of Working Wisconsin report?
So actually, the first State of Working Wisconsin came out in 1996. It's a chance to annually look around Labor Day at the way that jobs, wages, unions, what's going on in the economy, what does it mean for working people, and we just try and put that into the world every Labor Day and help folks to see the economy from kind of right down the middle and what are some of the great, sort of good things that are going on, what are some of the serious concerns that we see, and how does that change over time.
So what were kind of the headline findings from this year? Because it came out in August, so we're a little bit behind, but as far as still relevant.
Yes, still absolutely relevant. I think the things we were seeing, around Labor Day are still going on today. One thing is we've had a really strong recovery from the pandemic shutdowns, and 2024 and 2025 data show that continued growth that we've had pretty steadily. That means we had more jobs than ever this summer. We had the highest median wage that we've ever seen, adjusting for inflation. So the median wage in the state, the median worker right at the middle is earning $25 an hour. And that's higher than we've seen ever. That is the 2024 wage. And we don't have the data for 2025. I think, so we see a lot of good things. And then we see what we always see, which is some very deep and disturbing inequality by race, by gender, by geography. But we also see these enormous clouds on the horizon, the impact of tariffs on the cost of living for people, the impact of the really brutal shift in immigration policy and how that shrinks access to labor. These things are slowing down the economy. And these are the reasons that Zandy is watching for the recession, predicting the recession. These things are a wet blanket on the economy. And you can see the beginnings of it. Growth is a little slower in the 2025 in the state, but we're still there's a lot of tea leaves to read. So
I guess what do you think Wisconsin has done, like in the least in Zandy's report? Like, we're not one of those 22 states. It said that we were expanding. So what do you think Wisconsin has done well to, I don't know if insulate is the right word, but as far as what has set us apart from some of the states that are struggling?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. The federal share of the workforce has got to be one of the things that's really driving part of this. Like, we just we're not dominant federal because of the massive layoffs and deunionization and disruption in the federal workforce. We have federal workers and they've lost jobs or they've lost and re-gotten jobs. There's been that chaos, but other states are more exposed that way. I think there's been some contraction in the manufacturing sector that has been more intense in other states. That usually is because of the unique industrial mix we have. Still, our manufacturing is not looking strong. It's just not looking quite as weak, I think, as other places.
Got it. Okay. So going back to the report, as far as looking at the strengths. So the median wage is the highest it's ever been, and yet. So when people say that, like the median wage is as high as it's ever been at $25 an hour, what is the argument? Because there's always the free market, because we have the lowest, we have the federal minimum wage, right, at $7.25. Right. How many people are actually still making that? Because the argument always is the market will take care of itself. So if wages are going up without ever actually changing the minimum wage, is there an argument still to change the minimum wage?
there's always an argument to change the minimum wage. The question of the median wage is really about how the overall economy is doing, where jobs are. The question of the minimum wage is essentially like, what is our minimum standard for work? What is the floor on which our entire labor market will be built? And the minimum wage in Wisconsin at $7.25 an hour, which is, just 19 states still use the federal. It's become so irrelevant. And it's true, fewer people work at the minimum wage, but the people who work at this state in the minimum wage, especially vulnerable are tipped workers who not only face the minimum wage, but face that $2.13 tip credit. So their hourly wage from their employer is basically $2 an hour, $2 and a change. If you cross the Mississippi River and get to Minnesota, a tipped worker earns the state minimum wage there, which is over $10 an hour. It's an enormous difference for tipped workers to have their tips on top of $10 an hour versus $2 an hour. There's 50,000 tipped workers in the state. Additionally, there are some sectors where childcare workers and other care sectors that sit above the minimum, but just above the minimum. So more like 10, 12, and moving up to 15 now because of the strength and the strength of the, expansion and low unemployment rates. But even so, in Wisconsin, those workers face lower wages than they do in our bordering states, Michigan, on the UP, Minnesota, and Illinois. All of which, Illinois is at $15 an hour now, all of which, the floor is just higher, and then wages go up from there. So I think, and it's funny because I think anytime you want to raise the minimum wage, someone's going to argue it's a bad time to, employers or conservatives are going to argue it's a bad time, right? Because when it is really close to what people are earning, then people can't afford it, right? Like that'll be too expensive. And when it's like far, like when the median wage has moved away from the minimum wage, then people are like, well, it's irrelevant. Why raise it? Like, when's the good time to raise it? This is the perfect time. If this, if it's not going to hurt anybody, pull the floor up.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, let's take a break really quickly. We're talking to Laura Dresser, who is the Associate Director at UW-Madison's High Road Strategy Center and the author of the State of Working Wisconsin report. We'll have more questions for her after this.
Save big money at Menards and stock up on your favorite Procter & Gamble products. We carry quality products from brands you can trust, like Dawn, Tide, Bounty, and more. Right now, get a $10 instant savings on a single qualifying purchase of $40 or more on Procter & Gamble products. Now through October 19th, head to Menards to get a great deal on qualifying Procter & Gamble products. Plus, view the weekly flyer for other great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
WTMJ and Sidex are back with the Beautiful Bathroom Contest. One likely listener will win a tub or shower conversion valued up to $10,000. It's easy. Snap a picture of your scary shower or terrifying tub, or just even one that you're just tired of, and enter now. Text BOO, B-O-O, to the WTMJ talk and text line 855-616-1620, or visit WTMJ.com to submit your picture and for full contest rules.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
I know why you continue to live in pain. It's because you don't believe anything can be done to help. Maybe you bought into something and you've been burned before. I mean, your skepticism. It's understandable. This is Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas. And here we use powerful, anti-inflammatory, and cushioning pharmacological medicines to ease your pain. They're FDA approved, and most medical insurance is going to pay for our treatments, including Medicare and Medicaid. And that's the litmus test. Because if insurance has shown to cover the cost of many of our patients' treatments, you can be sure it's valid medicine. It's not a biological treatment considered experimental, or some new gimmick that's trying to hook you. The Rejuvenex approach to pain relief is legitimate. It helps to alleviate pain in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. And from what we've seen, it gives people a new lease on their lives.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Call today, and there's a good chance we'll see you tomorrow.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Your family, your memories, our priority. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
Welcome back to Point Taken. We are talking to Laura Dresser, who's the Associate Director of UW-Madison's High Road Strategy Center and the author of the State of Working Wisconsin report. So what is the State of Working Wisconsin report? Is that all just data? Or is there any qualitative measures that go into it as far as interviews and the sentiment of workers in Wisconsin?
I mean, no, it really focuses on the data. We sort of let the data out. I do a lot of reading to think about like the context, and so there's some more qualitative or kind of discussion about the federal, what's been happening at the federal level and what that means for workers.
So, and I guess that's a question. So we're talking a lot about one of the outcomes of the shutdown right now is that their economic data that comes from the government is not being released for the time being. So what data do you rely on to build this report? How much is it federal? How much of it's stuff that comes from internal state agencies?
It's almost all federal. A lot of it is sort of generated at the state level and then gets processed back by the feds to get consistence across states and then comes back. But the federal role in understanding the economy is just absolutely essential. And to see Trump in August really to fire the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics just out of not liking the results of the data. And to, I think actually perhaps he even appreciates that the jobs data didn't come out this month because it probably would have been bad news. So,
well, and so as someone who's an economist, because it feels like there's been mixed reports as far as how reliable, or how dated getting that data has been as far as getting response rates from companies and stuff. And so what has been your experience as far as what, the revisions on some of those numbers and stuff as far as what their process is and how to interpret it once you use it for your work?
Yeah, for sure. So, the data that comes out pretty quickly, like that monthly release on jobs, that it's drawn from a sample and it's going to get revised. And mostly when the economy is kind of chugging along in a kind of predictable way, then those revisions tend to be pretty small. But when the economy is at inflection points, when it becomes unpredictable, then the kind of revision process, getting the extra results in, looking at the other sources that allow for those revisions gets you closer to reality. So yes, 2 months later, better what happened 2 months ago than you do right when it happens. It's still really important information right when it happens. I think about Scott Walker, for those of you who were around in 2011, he became very focused on a different source of data for this reason. There was the monthly data that was released that was showing that he was never going to make the 250,000 jobs he promised, which he never made, for the record, even over 2 terms. He did not. He got to 233,000. He was going to get 250, and just want to rub that one in. Didn't even get that. That was the first term promise. He dropped the promise and stopped talking about it. But for a good year and a half, everybody wanted to talk about how the quarterly census was better than the monthly data report. And yet it's better. it comes with an enormous lag. We do the best we can in the short term, but they both showed the same thing, slow growth for Wisconsin. That's, so, like it's true, you can get more precise versions if you wait longer. It's also like you're waiting longer and the data today matters and it'll get corrected.
Got it. Just one final question. We have less than a minute left, but as far as the trends that you saw from the report that came out in August and things you're watching going into finishing out 2025 and going into 2026.
I think keeping an eye on what the tariff impact on consumer prices is really important. And I think the budget bill has enormous implications for healthcare costs and for the cost of living for people. I really think if you were hoping that Trump was going to lower the price of the cost of living, I don't see any policy going on in D.C. that's going to help in that. And I think that's important to watch.
Got it. All right. Laura Dresser, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thanks for having me.
She is the Associate Director at UW-Madison's High Road Strategy Center and the author of the State of Working Wisconsin Report. We will come back after this and wrap up today's show.
Your what?
Making Thanksgiving dinner.
Why so early?
So I can serve a big family meal on the Flay table from Penny Mustard.
Oh, I love the Flay table.
Melt butter and add peanut butter.
The strong Midwest craftsmanship ensures family feasts for generations.
Mix in strained beets and mayonnaise.
What recipe are you making?
What's the recipe?
The Flay table with Kendall chairs, starting at just $287 a month, with no interest until October of 2027, through October 19th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
We get it. You're on the go, and life gets in the way. Stay up to date on all things WTMJ with podcasts of every show. Available on WTMJ.com. And don't forget you can stream WTMJ online and watch your favorite WTMJ shows on YouTube. Every show, when you want it, no matter where you are. We are Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620 WTMJ.
The Wisconsin retirement system impacts over 690,000 people, including police, firefighters, teachers, and UW employees. Join Annex Wealth Management and WTMJ's Steve Scafidi for a free webinar. Understand your WRS potential on Tuesday, October 21st at 3:30 p.m. Learn how your WRS pension fits into your financial portfolio and planning. The Annex Financial Planning team is experienced with WRS pensions and holistic financial planning. Register at annexwealth.com/events. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. That's Annex Wealth Management.
A buck in today's world doesn't go far unless you're spending it at Griffin. Because for just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. Buy one or a whole set. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand. We'll put you in new tires for just $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. That's right, $1 over cost, and we'll even show you the invoice to prove it. So what's the catch? There's really no catch. You don't have to buy a car or a truck from us. We'd like it if you did, but our only requirement is we put them on for you. Buy one, two, or a set of four. The $1 deal at Griffin. Available at Griffin Chrysler Jeep South 27th Street and Griffin Ford Waukesha. The $1 deal at Griffin. Make your dollar go further. Griffin, the buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. $1 over cost. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
After a serious accident, you'll need a winning team to protect your rights. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
He wants to have multiple championships. And if there's a first-round exit for the Bucks, it will be hard for me to believe that Giannis has a long-term future moving forward in Milwaukee beyond this season.
Bringing you the latest in news, sports, traffic, and weather.
Artificial intelligence is making its way into nearly every part of medicine, and now a major new clinical trial is testing whether AI can help doctors detect breast cancer earlier and more accurately.
Every weekday from noon until 3 p.m. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right, a big thanks to all of our guests today, Jim Santel, Mary Kuhnmensch, Dr. Kristin Lyerly, Laura Dresser. Tomorrow, I think Senator Tammy Baldwin's going to join us, if I can get that confirmed. And also, like I said, we're going to take a break from the politics tomorrow and talk about No Packers, No Life, a new documentary on Japanese Packers fans. I'm really excited to talk more about that. But yeah, I will just end on this because we didn't get enough time to talk about the game last night. Getting to be there live for that double play was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I know we couldn't pull out the win, but that play was incredible. And just to be standing there in the crowds when they don't do the replay and be like, what happened? I looked like Sal. Maybe not as perplexed as Sal, but that face of me like, what just happened was a very cool thing to experience. All right, we will be back tomorrow. Midday News is next. Have a great day.
There's a lot of noise coming out of Washington these days, but one thing retirees in Wisconsin can't afford to ignore is the new Big Beautiful Bill. Sounds harmless, right? But here's the truth. The changes buried in this bill could have a serious impact on your retirement. At Drake & Associates, we've dug into the details, and we want to make sure you know what's really at stake. The Big Beautiful Bill includes